So I've got it recording. I am checking that it's recording. The system is notorious for doing something completely different to what I asked it to do. Right, so here we are. I know, thank you for coming. I mean, you know, it's digital, but thank you still, it's virtual. Thank you for coming all the same.
Great to be here. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. I'm excited to have you because we've talked about finance on and off for quite a few years. So now that I get to do this new series, Conversations with Me Chi, you were actually one of the first people that I thought of. I was like, okay, I think, you know, it would be good to have a juicy conversation about finances. And I say juicy because I think it affects all of our lives. Whether we consider ourselves financially successful or whether we're kind of on our way to what the dream is, I think it's really important for all of us to stay aligned and all of that. I have no idea why I'm hearing this sound in my ear. I'm just gonna.
Okay, it's recording.
We are recording. So here we are. Zoom tells me it's recording, as I triple check. So Conversations with Me Chi. This is a new series that I decided to start, and in fact I've been wanting to do for a very, very long time. And then, you know, everything kind of hit with COVID, and it was just a lot to juggle, to think about life and think about things that seem like fun, having wonderful conversations with people. But what I realized is it didn't matter how long I postponed, what I would call the inevitable. The changes in the way that we've been living just seemed to almost make it more pertinent for me personally to have these conversations. And you were one of the first people that I actually thought of when I, had started to kind of think of the people that I would love to have conversations with. I had sort of, creative people in mind, but what I did remember, and that was the really just the but what I always remembered was just the way that the financial conversations I had with you in the past had shaped and still stuck with me many years later. So even though this is this particular series is a well-being and lifestyle series, which will be probably hopefully part of a wider conversation, I really wanted to bring the financial part into it at this stage, because I think that it is something that is important to most people, whether they have money or don't have money, is pertinent. I think a really important part of how many of us are going to need to almost reshape our lives as we move forward post COVID-19 in 2021 or whatever happens hereafter. And I think also whether a person considers themselves successful in terms of what they have in the bank or what assets they have, I think it's still really important for us to talk about our attitudes towards money, our disciplines, and even this concept of what is success, what is successful living, and how that impacts on on our health generally. Yeah. And I know that you're a real advocate for financial health, so it almost seems like a no-brainer to have this conversation with you. So what I'd like to start off with is for you to introduce yourself. And because I think, obviously I know who you are, but it'd be great for anybody listening
Yes.
watching to know who you are, and for them to kind of also gain some insight into why I would be so enthralled about having this conversation, because I'm not known to be a financial person, so that's why I'm saying it.
Yes. So, brief introduction. My name is Leigh, and I've got two businesses actually. I'm not sure if you know that. I'm a vice president within a financial education company where we educate families about finances. But I'm also a managing director of a mental health first aid company. This is where we go into companies and train people to recognize the signs and symptoms of mental health in the workplace and around themselves. So those are the two businesses that I run. I've been on this journey with finance since 2010. I read a book in 2009, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that. Fantastic book. Decided this is great. I need something like this in my life. Came across this organization that I work with now, where I have a franchise. I own my own franchise in the company. And started the journey towards being debt-free and financially independent. And glad to say I am completely debt-free. I'm working towards the financial independence now. So that's just a little bit of me. I've got a beautiful, fantastic wife. I've got 3 beautiful children, and I've also got a grandson who's just turned 2 in December. So that's my personal business life. Slight introduction, and I'm sure I'll be able to tell you more as we go through the conversation.
I love that. So already, so some people that know me will kind of know this. Like, I always get really excited when I find out something new about somebody that I've known. So the mental, because I knew you were a champion, like you champion, mental health, and you talk about financial health, but I did not know about the company and the sort of structured dedication to that. So I really want to celebrate that, and definitely we'll be finding out some more about that, whether it's in this chat or otherwise. I definitely concur on the beautiful family aspect, because I've seen your family. What is interesting, the book that you were talking about when you asked if you could mention it, absolutely. I read that book many years ago. I mean, and I think it's still relevant today, Rich. A lot has changed in the way that we sort of access, finance, money, and all of that, and even education. But I think that it's still a really important book, and I know the authors are still kind of at it even now. They're very active.
Yes,
and
definitely.
I follow them on YouTube, some of their podcasts. So I'm always happy to give a free plug to resources that I believe help other people, and also helped me, because and that's the beauty of not being sponsored.
You can do what you want.
I can do whatever I like. It's beautiful. But something that you said that I really want to touch on, even in the start, is you said something about being debt-free and on your way to financial freedom. So can you maybe start with explaining to us what the difference between those two things are, being debt-free and financial freedom, being financially free?
I guess being debt-free, I mean, a lot of us, I believe the UK is geared towards keeping people in debt. That's my opinion. And it's so easy to get a credit card, easy to get a loan, easy to go and get a store card, easy to get payday loan. And those things keep you in debt. So when I say I'm completely debt-free, I don't owe anybody. I don't owe the banks. I don't owe the insurance companies. I don't owe a mortgage company, completely debt-free. When I say financial independence, I guess that is being able to not have to work. So basically earning, making money while I sleep. So I'm not actually there and the income is still coming in. And for me, that's what financial independence is, whereby you've got the income coming in and you don't have to wake up in the morning to go and serve anybody unless it's by choice, which I know I'm probably never going to retire because I'm always going to want to serve people. But I want to get to the point where I don't have to. If I want to take a year off, I can do. So that's what I'm working towards now. So for me, that's the main difference. Getting money work for you so that you're not having to work. That would be financial independence.
I love that.
Or financial freedom.
Yeah, I love that. So can you maybe just touch on what it was that prompted you? I know you talked about the book that you read, but what was it that made you decide, okay, you know what, I need to be debt-free? And then how did you map out the plan to get there? Because it was interesting that you said England, there's a financial culture of people being in debt. I don't think it's just England, but, we are in England, so we'll speak about that, which we know. There was something that I noticed, especially since we've been in lockdown, on YouTube, lots of adverts, people saying, oh, they set up their own business, they can help you to make money, they can, and it's all this, what I would consider financial freedom promotion, how to have your money work for you while you're sleeping. But what has been interesting to me about a lot of those sort of promo ads or promo videos, whatever they are called, is that I realize that people say, oh, why are you paying your mortgage? Oh, why are you putting money towards, being debt free, when you can almost go and let somebody else's money work for you? What they're meaning is go borrow against property, because there's usually a lot of property.
Yes.
Borrow again, use other people's money, and there are models now structured around that thinking. So when I ask you about what it was that prompted you to be debt-free and the plan and process that you've taken to get there, I'm interested because if anybody wanted to take that up as a journey, it will require discipline, commitment, and almost a complete blindfold to what is going on in society and to all the offerings, that you talk about. So can you maybe talk through your journey? Maybe what were the key things, the 3 things or one thing that struck you that you knew you needed to do? And the I don't know, 3 top steps or the 3 first things or whatever, first thing I just give us.
Yes. I think what the book did for me really was open my eyes to what was possible in the world, what was out there. Because before then, I was just working. I had 2 jobs. I had, the hustle was real. And you working 2 jobs, one in the morning, then you go to another one, and it was just around and round and just keeping going around in circles. And when I read that book, it kind of gave me an idea of what was out there, what was possible in the world that we lived in. And I think if you're going to go on any journey like that, the most important thing really is your why. What is your goal? Why are you doing it? Because it's no use saying you just want to be debt free and just for a laugh. And I think for me, my why, if I have to think about it more than anything else, is my legacy, being able to create a legacy so that when I'm no longer here, my name will still be there. My children and their children and their children will not have the same challenges that I had or that I've had over the last so many years of my working life. So for me, my why, that is one of my whys, just being able to not have to struggle in my old age as well. I want to be able to not have to work. A lot of us work for 40 years and then we live for 15, 20 years and we're dead and we're living from hand to mouth. There's this stat about out of 100 people reaching retirement, only 5 are financially okay. The other 95 are still
100 people.
Of 100 reaching retirement age, only 5 are financially okay. The other 95 are still working or broke. So I don't want to be one of those 95. I want to be one of the 5s. And like you said, I think it does take discipline. It takes perseverance. It takes having a mentor. I think one of the reasons I've kept on going, although I really wanted it, and I was fighting for it, and I worked hard. I'm not going to say I didn't. I worked like a dog.
You worked hard.
However, I had a great mentor, and who said to me, "It doesn't matter where you've come from; it's where you're going that counts." Wow. And I think one of the challenges we have in our communities is that we don't see wealthy people like that. We don't see people who've earned their income, who are financially free. We don't see people who are, unless they're footballers and musicians, we don't really see business people like that. So I didn't have any examples like that to look up to. So I think having a mentor who believed in me, who supported me, who was there for me 24/7, and always gave me the encouraging words I needed, I think that made a massive difference. But also having a family. I don't think you could do this. I couldn't have done this without my wife.
Wow.
For starters. Because if she hadn't been that supportive, I'll have lasted about 6 months. But even when things were not going great, it was a case of, I still believe we're going to do it. If you believe it, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I think having that support makes a massive difference. Just my mentor, my wife, I spoke to my children when I started. I said, okay, boys, Daddy's going to need to do some extra stuff. Daddy's going to have to grind a little bit. But, what are your goals? And I asked the boys for their goals. One wanted to go to Disney. The other wanted to go to the Caribbean. I got them to cut out pictures from a magazine. We put it on the whiteboard and we stuck it up on the wall. So it wasn't just my goal. It was my 2 boys' goal, and my wife, my wife also, she cut hers up. So we all cut up our goals. We all have it on the whiteboard. The whiteboard is still there in my bedroom. And, when I wake up in the morning, it's the first thing I see. When I go to bed at night, it's the last thing I see. And so it was great to have the family support, the family unit. They were always behind me. So yeah, those were the things, but it takes perseverance. It takes persistency. And like you said, you've got to almost have like a tunnel vision of what you want, because it's easy to be distracted. So many people offer you so many different things. You can't believe how many offers I've had from so many businesses. And I've had people come along, they've started this thing, and then 6 months later, they're doing something else. And then 6 months later, it's something else. 10 years later, because I've been on this journey since 2010, they've done 20 businesses and nothing's really worked out. They're still doing their job. I left my job 4 years ago.
Wow. So
I work for myself and I don't work for anybody. But it's not just something I did like that. It takes work, it takes dedication, it takes focus, and all those things I mentioned earlier.
I love that. And I was, kind of just like, I want to ask him so many questions, but I was like, okay, I know. I was like, okay, I need to just stay focused, because this is important that people, starting with myself, get some real takeaways from this. Because you talk about having started this journey in 2010, you talk about being focused on the why. Okay, so what is the why? And then that allowed you to develop this plan around the what. And it sounds like for you, the what was almost expanding your horizon in terms of what you could do to meet the why in a certain, in a specified time frame, right?
Yeah, I think having a why is great, but you also need to have a strategy.
Yes.
I think that's what there's a strategy to actually achieve the why.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah.
Absolutely. And that what is not what I think is not, it's not, okay, how can I put this? The what is as important as the support that you are given to achieve it, because you talked about the support of your family, the fact that all of you joined in to almost this sort of vision planning, and dream mapping. And so everybody had a part that they played in that. And so when I was listening to you, I was thinking, see, that in my mind, that would really help when, for example, if the Disney dream is right there in front of, of a child, then, and then a credit card comes through. Have I lost him? This is the beauty of Zoom. Seem to have lost connection. Sam, are you there? Okay, so I'm just gonna wait a second and see if he comes back. I think I've lost my guest. Let me pause this for a minute. Right, I think that is we got something. Okay.
Yes, we're recording.
We're recording. Right. Okay. So where were we? So we were talking about, you talked about the why, that one of the big things that is almost the inspiration behind why you did what you did really was the why. Like the concept of having to be committed to something, to retain discipline through a whole process, because you talked about starting a business in 2010 to help people with financial literacy. And we are now in 2021, so we're close on 11 years. And I would assume that irrespective of the successes you've had along the way, that in the midst there would have been challenges. So that why would have had to be at the forefront of your mind. Not just your mind, but the minds of your family, because you talked about even your sons having mind maps.
The whiteboard, yeah.
Whiteboards. Your wife had her own kind of why. So you probably had the why, the legacy why, as you put it, but you almost had these subgroups where those that were supporting you also needed to have their versions of why.
That's right, yes.
In order to feed into the what. So I want to know, was there a particular time that was most challenging along that sort of 10-year journey? Like, can you think of a time where for whatever reason, it could be that it would have just been easier to use another credit card than to do this, or maybe the people that you were trying to help, you couldn't see what that was achieving, because I know that I benefited from those early days. Yes.
I mean, again, like everything else, you will have those challenges, and I definitely did have them. But one thing I say to people is about having a why is great, having a strategy is fantastic. However, you need to have the burning desire to achieve that goal. If it's not burning, if it's not kind of like bang, bang, bang in your face every day, then it's easy to give up. It's easy to just say, oh, you know what, I'll try something else. Or people frustrate you, because I work with people, I deal with people. You know what people can be like. They let you down. They don't see what you see, which is sometimes the most annoying thing. I can see this. This is how you can do it. You need to do it. Nah, I can't be bothered. And so it can be frustrating. But I think having a goal that had a burning desire that got me up every morning, I think that kind of helped. That made a massive difference for me, as in, and I think knowing that it works. Because the strategy in my business, because I had a lot of debt, I had a lot of things that I wanted to do. And I think for me, following the system and seeing that I could see my debt coming down slowly, quicker than it done over the last 10 years.
Wow.
So I could see that in my own life. And I thought, okay, it's working for me. If somebody else, just one other person, puts the same thing into practice, it will work for them.
Wow.
So even though there were challenges, even though there were tough times, even though there were times I didn't want to get out of bed, even now, it's interesting. I had a meeting 9 o'clock this morning, 9 a.m. meeting, and there were 20 of us on the call, and it was about 10 to 9, and I didn't want to get up. And then I eventually got up about 9:15, eventually joined about 9:20, and then I checked my phone, and there was about 10 text messages from people. Sam, where are you? Sam, because it was my mastermind group.
Okay.
And they were all like, Sam, you okay? Sam, where are you? Sam, this was about 5 to 9, because I would normally be one of the first people on. And so there were text messages from people saying, Sam, are you okay? We can't see you on the call. Mm-hmm. Where are you? What's happening? And so that was very encouraging for me, actually. But I didn't want to get up.
So let me even ask you about that specifically, because you talked, even when you said, you used the phrase burning desire, I thought to myself, but we have burning desires about many things. It doesn't mean that we see them through. You know what I mean? I have a burning desire to go to Japan. You know what I mean? Like, Japan may as well be on fire. They still ain't seen me yet. I wanna know because we get to a place where there's got to be something more than just that fire. So it's the fire mixed with this practicality, because you have been seeing the success in your own life, but you have just said you still were challenged to get up this morning. So
yes.
What is it? Is it that there is a place where desire has to be mixed with discipline, or is it that discipline has to almost drag desire? Like what is it? Because I think that's really interesting, because people think, oh, it's just at the beginning stages, right? At the start, I might kind of have to find my way and do things I don't want to do. But you are talking about being 10 years in and having the opportunity to almost lead other people to the water. And still, you are open and honest enough to say, I even struggle as of this morning. So what pulls what? Burning desire, discipline, burning desire, like what pulls what?
Yeah. Honestly, it's your mindset.
Okay.
Having a positive mindset, I think, makes a massive difference. Okay. I just think we're naturally lazy. If I'm going to be honest, I'm sorry. Yeah, I know it's not what you want to hear, but we're naturally lazy. If our bodies had a choice, it would probably stay in bed. If you want to lose that extra 10 pounds, naturally that donut looks good. You get what I'm trying to say? And it takes a lot of discipline and a mindset, and to keep that in your forefront. It doesn't matter how many millions you have. I'm sure the millionaires, they want more, but they still have to push themselves to get there. Because naturally, we just want to chill. Naturally, we don't want to do anything. That's just the way I feel. And I think it takes you pushing yourself. It takes you feeding yourself the right things on a daily basis. So daily, I listen to motivational things. I'm reading 3 books right now as we speak. 3 audiobooks, because I can't sit down to read anymore. So I'm reading 3 audiobooks as we speak. And those are books that, they push me, they encourage me, they help me to see where I'm going. They help me to see other people. One of the books is by a good friend of mine, Jeff Letts.
I love Jeff.
Okay. Yeah. Jeff is one of my personal mentors.
Well, I think I met him through you, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Holborn somewhere? Am I crazy?
We've been to different things together, so it could have been anywhere.
Okay, no, but I think it was Holborn, because I would have a better memory of that, because you go to lots of them. But I think it's
okay. So he's just come out with a book which just channels his life story.
Okay. And
for me, when I read a story like that, my life has definitely not been. It's nowhere as awful as his has been.
Wow.
But if he can get to where he is now, then what excuse do I have? Absolutely none.
Okay.
So
So
yeah. So go on. No. You go on, ladies.
Because I wanted to ask you something in that though, because you talk about, okay, so naturally we're lazy, naturally we like the comfort space, we will almost kind of default to what feels comfortable as opposed to pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zone or outside of the box so that we can achieve what it is that we desire, even what is a burning desire. But how do we know when we have pushed too much? Because, and I want to even bring that now, it's sort of like financial health, mindset, and then mental well-being. So how do we balance and navigate and straddle those balances? Because there are people that and I'm going to keep using YouTube as my sort of default example, because I believe that there's enough people that know YouTube without it being plugged. And you have successful people who are selling you ways to make money and make money fast, and they talk about whether it's their press ups, their routine, their this, their that. Okay, then you have people that are talking about the Instagram phenomenon, where people are, oh, selfie, boo-boo, here's me next to my boo-boo, see the life I made in 1 year, boo-boo. If you have a burning desire to get yourself out of debt, to be financially free, to be financially independent, whether that could even mean simply pursuing your dreams, because there are many people working in jobs where they're doing well, but they are not, they're not working in areas that are their passion. So that's a different.
That was me. Yeah.
Okay, so that type of financial independence, or passion independence is completely different. So how does one almost know how to, or what tools can you give for being able to navigate all these things that come at us, including whatever is going on in our minds, like you said, needing to push ourselves to get up in the morning to do what we got to do, and then also kind of this comparison thing that's going on in the world, and then this burning desire when sometimes we may even be in environments that are not nurturing the desire that we have. How do we balance the pursuit of dreams but keep ourselves healthy while we are trying to also be financially healthy?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think when I look at myself, focus is important, but focusing on the one thing.
Okay.
I think one of the challenges people have is the grass is always greener.
Okay, but it is. I'm joking.
If you look at those people that advertise I was a millionaire in a year,
right,
9 out of 10 times, it was never in a year.
Exactly.
You get what I'm trying to say? 9 out of 10 times, it's a lie.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say. Oh, no. And they're not telling you the truth.
Yeah.
I've known people to spend thousands of pounds on these property management things, whereby you sign up for £999, you go for a weekend session, and then they expect you to pay £30,000 for a year session. I know many of them that never went through. I know many of them that were not successful. Not that they're not successful. Some people out of 100, 2 or 3 might make it.
Is that luck, or is that because if you're already spending 30,000, we're talking about being debt free. If you have to find 30,000, I'm a simpleton. If anything you are selling me requires me to find more money than what I need to even get myself out of the situation that I'm in now,
that's too much. Yeah,
I want to know. And I'm going to be honest, that was what was attractive to me when you and I first met. Because I am one of those people where I always asking myself, well, what are you selling me? Because if it's going to cost me more than what it's going to cost me to drag myself out of this mire, then why am I and that's why the idea of the grass being green on the other side, why I said it is because I really think it is, right? That's what causes us to have dreams, because we believe that. Yes. But going back to the property people in their 30K, So I ask, is that luck, or is that this thing you talk about, discipline, having focus on the one thing? What is it?
To be honest, I think every business has its system.
Okay.
Every business that is established now will have its own system. Whether you pay £100 or you pay £100,000 to join that business,
okay.
I always say to people, "Oh, that doesn't work. Did you follow the system?"
Okay.
I always say you can if you can afford a McDonald's franchise, you will be successful.
Okay.
Because they have a system whereby you put in a particular location, you buy the bun from the same place, the burgers from the same place, you follow, would you like some fries? Do you want to go large with that? Doesn't matter where you go to, it's the same system. The franchise is £250,000 or something like that.
Yes.
If you can afford it, you will be successful if you follow their system. Now, people who buy the franchise are successful because they can't afford not to. You spend £250,000, you better make it work.
So that then becomes a burning desire. But it's more of a burn than it is a desire.
You know what I mean? Because you've still got to pay wages, you've still got to buy you've got to, but you go to the university to learn the system. So for me, any business would work if you follow the system. And so I generally, when people complain to me about a business not working, my first question is, did you follow the system?
Okay.
Somebody said, if you want to be good at something, or if you see somebody is good at something and you want to do that, ask them and do exactly what they tell you to do.
Interesting.
So for me, I've been to those courses where they've asked you to run to the back and pay £999. And for me, it's a great place to meet people. Okay? And I see people run to the back, and sometimes they could be deceptive because some of the people running to the back actually work for the business. You get me? And, I know this from having been to a few of them. But I also know a lot of people that have paid for those courses and they've not really had the support. They've not had the help. Even if they want to follow the system, some of the franchise owners have not been as genuine as they could be. Which is why, when I started on this journey of just not having a job 10 years ago, because a lot of us work at jobs, I think the days of just having one job is gone.
Yeah.
You really ought to have something on the side that you can use to build your legacy. Okay? So when I started on this...
Multiple streams of income?
You need multiple streams.
Have that. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they say the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. So if you need 7, what's wrong with you? Just relying on the one. With one, it's not going to happen. And I think when I came on this journey, I did my research. I looked at different opportunities. I checked them out. I went to a few presentations, and I thought, I feel this can help me personally. And, as a leader in the community at the time, I saw the need for financial education. I saw the need. I was a group scout leader as well. So I had a scouts group with, in a very deprived area of Leeds, and I saw what the parents were going through. And so for me, I was by joining, it was going to help me, but I was also bringing value to people. You get me? So that was it for me. But there are opportunities out there. It's just looking at one that suits you. So looking at your system and what you do, you've got your fashion, you've got your style. I'm sure there'll be lots of things out there, or you could even start yours if you've got the opportunity. But there are things out there that people can do. I've got people that want to buy properties. I was speaking to a lady yesterday. She needs deposit for a property. I said, okay, instead of going to borrow £20,000 to join one of those businesses, why don't you find a business where you can pay a little bit of money, try and generate some income from that. Any money you make, stick it in. That was what I did. The money I made, I just saved it and I used it to get myself out of my job.
Wow.
So as I was making, I was using. Robert, like you said, we go to school to learn how to work for money. We don't learn how to get money working for us. Right. So any money I was making, I was getting it working for me.
Yeah. Okay. So I know that there's so much I could ask you, but I don't know where time goes. Like I don't know how I'm going to move this series forward without, I keep saying every week, I'm like, okay, this is turning into like 2 hours. Because my mind, I'm just like, oh, so many things I could ask you, because there's the idea around when you know what the why is. Why am I doing this? Why am I trying to be debt free? Then the what. What is it that I need to do in order to get myself to the promised land, to this place of burning desire, to the place that burning desire calls?
Yeah. That
requires a system. In your case, a mentor for direction, a system that had been proven. Then also sounds like adding the perspective of servitude, of service, and passion, right? Purpose makes also a big difference, because even when things are challenging, one is reminded that this is a win-win for both the person trying to get out of debt as well as the people that they are serving while they are trying to do it. So yes, kind of a multi-dimensional perspective on this, goal of the why. And then we need to get whoever is involved in our lives or who's impacted by our lives on board, where they also have a joint mission. They might have different vision for what that means for them, but they got to be co-partners in this mission. Then we need to almost be prepared for the natural laziness,
which will come. Yeah.
So knowing that is coming, and I mention it. I know we laugh, but I mention it because going back to that idea of the look at me next to my Lamborghini, look at me, I still in the bank. Speaks to the lazy man in us. So we need to be realistic about what it really takes to get to right. Okay. Now, as we go along this journey, how should we celebrate successes? And I will still come back to the previous question I asked, which is then how do we retain mental health in the process?
Yeah, so I think for me, we celebrate our successes. I set 90-day goals, and we celebrate our successes every 90 days. Now, it could be go to Europe for a weekend. It could be get...
Wait. If you go to Europe, are you not spending some of the money that is meant to be part of the... So
that's why you're doing it. You're doing it so you can have the freedom to do what you want.
Okay.
That's part of why you're doing what you do. Okay. And again, we talk about budgets. We talk about making sure you've accounted for it so that when you do it, you're in a good place.
Okay.
But it could be something as simple as getting some, instead of getting Chinese in, we go for Thai. My sons, they love Thai. So we'll get Thai meal in. Yeah, so it could be anything. What do you want as a family to reward yourself? But I think it is good that you celebrate the yeses as often as when you set the targets. And I do the same thing with my team, whereby, we've got goals. And when we achieve those goals, we're currently reading a book called The 12-Week Year. Okay, and the 12-week year is about limiting your year goals into 12 weeks. Now, the 12-week year for us finishes end of March. So we're going to have a party. We're going to have an online party. And, that's us rewarding ourselves. And that's, I'm going to give out awards and give out prizes. And that's us celebrating our yeses, celebrating our victories. But everybody's got their own little targets that they want to achieve. They've set for themselves, and it's stretching, it's smart. We talk about smart goals. So they've set smart goals for the next 12 weeks since the beginning of the year. Okay. So, I always say to people, if it was easy, everybody will be doing it.
Yeah.
If it was easy, everybody would be a millionaire.
So true.
It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not going to happen like that, but it can happen. It comes down to what's your mindset. Do you believe it? Do you believe when you dream of, I'm going to be a millionaire? I know that for certain. So do I believe that? Yes, I do. I've got it written down. I talk about it as often as I can. My family know it's going to happen. The guys in my team know it's going to happen. And I know it's going to happen. Now, it's taken me a long time to believe that, but I do. Now, somebody said, your goals should make you cry. Your goals should make you, this is tough, but I'm going to make it happen. It's got to be something that you believe is going to happen. For a lot of people, they don't believe it's going to happen. Even though they set the goal, they don't believe it's going to happen. So what do? I listen to Les Brown almost on a daily basis. I listen to Tony Robbins. I listen to all of them, Jim Rohn. Like I said, I read books. I read books that push me forward, that get me going. And that is the only way it's going to happen, because you will have lazy days. You will have people who will discourage you. Family is probably the bane of my life, because everybody else sometimes believes in you, family doesn't. You know what I'm trying to say? So your family will doubt you. Your friends, your closest friends will doubt you. You will doubt yourself. Now, what do you do at that point? It's a choice. Do you give up, or do you just keep going? And I was talking at an event last week, and something I said is, we're afraid of the wrong thing. I'm afraid of being 70 and having my children look after me. I don't want that. I want them to say, we want to buy a house. Dad, could you give us 20K for a deposit? And I say, okay, you can have it, but pay me back. I want to be able to do that. How many of us can say we can do that? I don't want to be 70 and I'm still in the UK relying on the pension, right. £120 a week. That would completely...
If that's even left at that time.
Exactly. Retirement age is now 68. It's going up to 70, then it's going to go up to 72. Do I want to wait for that? Those are the real things you should be worried about. You get what I'm trying to say? So I am aware of what I don't want.
Yeah.
I want to be in the Caribbean before I'm 60. I want to have my house there, and I want to be going there and come. I'm telling you my goals.
You don't have to convince me, because we have had chats over the past decade.
Yeah.
And I had come to you and I was like, okay, I need to be debt free, and I showed you where I was at, and you were like, but you're already like nearly there. And I was like, oh, am I? Because it's when you're in the hustle, you don't even realize how far you've come. That's right. So you don't have to convince me. I know I'm a convert.
And I think that's what a lot of people don't have. They don't have a plan. Yeah. Say, most people don't plan to fail. They just failed to plan. And I think having that plan on a piece of paper that says, this is where you are, is like a sat-nav. You put the postcode and it gets you to where you're going.
Yeah.
This is a map that tells you this is where you are, this is where you'd like to be, how do you get there? Mm-hmm. And then once you get that map, you become laser focused on it, and you follow that without deviating left or right.
Okay. So we've run out of time completely, and I mean completely. So I want to just for us to sort of just close this with you talked about satellite maps, navigators, trackers. I want to kind of then be like, okay, so we are on track to our, the destination. We got Google Maps, satellite, doing all the things that it needs to do. What would be the takeaway that you would offer anybody watching this? The one thing, even if they don't know where to start, or for example, if they don't know where to start, what will be the one thing that they should do right now? And if they have started, but maybe have gotten distracted, or there's been some distraction in their life, because I've experienced that, what should they do to get back on track? So what is the thing that anybody that wants to start, the one thing they should do, and then those who are already on track, whether they've been distracted or they are doing well, should continue to do? Oh, you're on mute.
Am I back on now?
You're back on now. Okay, so you got 30 seconds.
Okay, for those people,
what should you do? What's the one thing so people are not overwhelmed? Because for me, that mental state of mind is really important. Mental well-being. You don't want any more overwhelmment than you've already got. What is the one thing that people should just focus on doing, even if they don't know where to start? And then for those that are on some kind of track to where they should go, what should they do to stay on track and to ensure they meet their goal?
Okay, those who've not started yet, figure out your why.
Okay.
What do you want? We call it a CCNP. Do you have a clear, concise mental picture of where you want to be? Once you have that, that's a start. Then find a vehicle to help you achieve it. For those who've started and they've got a plan and they know where they want to be, they need to keep working on their mindset. It's a continuous thing. What is your mindset like? Is it positive? Are you feeding it on a daily basis? How many motivational things do you listen to? Do you have a mentor to keep you on the right track? If you don't have a mentor, give somebody a call that you see who's doing well and say, can I talk to you once a month? If they ask for some money, it'll be well worth your time to pay for it. I'm not a mentor, so I don't do that, but it's worth finding somebody that inspires you, somebody that's done what you do, that you want to do, and then talk to them, get some help, and continue to get that going. I know there's time.
I know, we've run out of time. Even Zoom, we've run out of time. So I'm going to stop recording, but people got that. If you don't know where to start, just start somewhere, get a plan. Get to know what your why is. I will also have Sam's details somewhere, linked somewhere, so you can contact him. If you're already on track, or you feel that you're already on track, just get your mind set right and stay inspired. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sam, Leigh. Like, you are just the best. We may have to do a part 2, but we'll come back to that.
I read books that push me forward, that get me going, and that is the only way it's going to happen, because you will have lazy days. You will have people who will discourage you.